So in this part 2 of dividing decimals by decimals, we will just work on more examples on how to divide decimals by decimals and a lot more problems on dividing decimals by decimals. So in the previous video, we've talked about how to solve, right, decimals by decimals, dividing decimals by decimals. And here we're going to do quite some examples and do a little bit more example and get really good at dividing decimals by decimals. But before we get started, I would like you to pause this video and try this very, very, very quick exercise. So I'm assuming you've already paused this video and tried to answer all of them. So let's go over them really quickly. So before we get started, actually I'll talk about this a little more. So what's 56 times by what gives me 56? So in other words, what's 56 divided by 56? That would be like 1 here. So 5.6 times what gives 56? 10, right? 0.56 or 56 hundredths times what gives me 56? 100 and 56 thousandths, right? 0.056 times by 1,000 would give me 56. And then here it was 10,000. So I'm assuming you've noticed something and the point of doing this exercise. You really get, right? What are some things you noticed? So one thing, all of these gave me 56. So that's probably one of them. But the decimals, right? This was one decimal. I moved it here twice. Here moved it 3 times. And it also looks like, right? So when I move the decimal one place, I get 1 0. Twice 2 zeros. 3 times 3 zeros. 4 times I had 4 zeros. So hopefully this video exercise helped, and when we're actually like dividing or multiplying decimals, it would help you because right away you know, okay, I have to times it by 100, times by whatever number. It's really quick. Now let's actually start taking some examples about dividing decimals by decimals. So our first one would be, our first example, let's see. Let's do, so pause this video and try to solve this by yourself first, and then we can go over and review it. So I see you've already paused this video and have solved this problem. So let's go over it. So this CN is our dividend, and this over here is our divisor. So if you recall from the previous video, remember we really care about this divisor. We always have to make sure our divisors are not in a decimal form, or else it's going to get really complicated. So we would just times our divisor by whatever number in order to get 78 or equal. So this is the whole purpose of that exercise, is to get familiar to multiply. So this time I actually do have to multiply by 100. So whatever we do here, we must do to the dividend. Now we have to times this over here, and 15.6. Now here if I times it by 100, so here's where the part is. I don't get 156. I have, right, if I multiply it, I'm bringing it back 1 time and 2 times. So we need something to fill that space in. That would be 0. So this is 1,560. This way it remains equal. Now we've done that. All we gotta do is put in a long division. This one has no decimals technically, so I don't have to worry about putting all the upward there. All you do is solve it, and that would give you, let's see, and that should give you 20 as your answer. This one has no decimals. And if you actually estimate it, which is super important, if you do it before, you should do it before. So 15, round up to maybe you want 15, and change that decimal to a 1. So 15 divided by 1 would be 15, and this is roughly around that. So we know we did it correctly. let's do one more example. Now let's do this one. Okay, 145.6 divided by 1.2. So again, this one is considered our dividend, and this one is considered our divide. So this one equals, you don't have to always label it once you have the hand, you don't have to, but it's nice to have there. Okay, so our dividend, so we worry about the divides first, or we have to care about that first. And in order to get it, we need to times by something. In order to get 12, that's 10. So we have to also multiply 145.6 by 10. And that gives us 1,456. And this one worked out really nicely because now we'll have no decimals, both not in my dividend nor in my divisor. So now I can just go in regularly multiply this. And that this one actually gonna require a lot more space. I'm gonna actually solve this problem on the next page real quick. This way we have more room to solve that one. So here, this one is a little bit important because, right? Okay, so I have to divide that by 12, 1 over here, 12 minus, so I got 2. Goes in twice, 24 minus 1, 16. That would go in, that would go in 1 time. Minus 12, we get 4. Now, since before you actually determine it's a remainder or not, you should probably put in that 0 in place and then bring that down. So if you do bring that 0, remember, before we did some examples when we had divided decimals by whole numbers, that we don't have to put that decimal, but technically, right over here is a decimal, right? Even though it doesn't have numbers, right? We just keep on having 0, 0, 0 because that has no value right now. It technically is a decimal. So right now you should put that decimal there, because if you're going to bring a 0, because if you just put, right, 156, right, that's totally different. You can't add 0, 0, 0. That's totally changes the value. Make sure you have that decimal place right over in between. So you should put that decimal place. And now you have to bring it up. Now I can bring that 0 down, and that would give me 3. And that's 36. So now if you're noticing, if I actually keep on doing it on and on, it's going to give me the same thing. It's the same thing. I put another 3, 36 minus, I will still get 4. Now, since I already have in decimals, I can't put R4, remainder 4, right? I can't do that. Now what you do, since right now I'm left with 12, 1 point, that's the decimal, that looks a little bit like a 0. I had to put that line. I talked about it before in dividing decimals by whole numbers, that you had to put that line. You could rewatch it to make understand more, right? Because this tells us that 3 goes on forever and ever and ever. Hopefully this video helped you better understand dividing decimals by decimals, and hopefully now you're super comfortable by dividing decimals by decimals.